Party started. Waiting to be prompted. All right. Welcome to Avenue Code's Extraordinary Woman in Tech, Episode 6. My name is Julia Sesnick, and I will be your host today. Today's topic is innovation and creativity, and we have 3 extraordinary leaders in the tech and retail industry in Canada who are going to be sharing their insights from their career and inspiring us with their words of wisdom. Our format today will be 45-minute discussion followed by a 15-minute Q&A with the audience. So let's get started. It's an honor to present to you our panelists today. Tara Conway, Vice President, Omni Channel and Customer Care at The Source. Welcome, Tara. Nathalie Pougno, Senior Director, IT and Digital Transformation at Recode Canada. Welcome, Nathalie.
Thank you.
And Melissa Austria, founder and owner at Got Style. Welcome, ladies.
Hello.
Thank you.
And thank you all for being here. We're excited to start this conversation. We'd love to hear a little bit about each of your personal journeys and how you got to where you are today. Let's start with Tara. Why don't you kick this off for us?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. It's been an amazing journey, and it's, I have to say, when you and I first spoke, I was humbled to think that I was an extraordinary woman in tech. I would have immediately said, I am somebody who is in customer experience, and I leverage technology. But you caused me to reflect and look back on the last, where I've been and how I got here. And I have to tell you, I don't know that I ever said this is exactly where I want to be. I started in marketing. I took the chance and thought this e-commerce thing might actually turn into something new at Toys R Us. And I for me, it's always been about putting my hand up and saying, I'll try that. I'll give that a try. That looks interesting. And I just continue to evolve and grow. And even when I think about this year and what I've been doing, I wasn't prepared. Like, I wouldn't even think that any of my experience is what's led to the success for us this year during COVID. But it's been an exciting experience. I've always been in retail. I've always been in customer care. And the idea of digital and customer experience coming together, I think, is what has kind of evolved into the omni-channel definition. And I'm excited about where I'm going. I'm not sure what I want to be when I grow up, which is something we often say at Toys R Us, which is where I've come from, but very excited about the future and where we're going.
Great. Well, you are extraordinary. We have to keep reminding yourself that all 3 of you ladies. Nathalie, what about you? Tell us a little bit about your journey.
For sure. And thank you. I am exactly feeling the same way, very honored to be here. And my journey is a bit different. It included 3 different countries, starting from Russia, where I was born and I studied, and then we moved to Israel, and now we are in Canada. So, and it's very exciting because I've seen different experiences, different cultures, and it helps me oftentimes to, see and maybe connect and create diverse teams when it comes to, working with other people. So for me, I always dreamt about technology. I was the kind of a kid that loved math, and I would prefer math, some difficult math exercise solving to reading a book. So I was always into that field. So for me, the career choice was quite obvious. I worked in IT, and this is where I see myself growing more and more. And what I really like and what really stood out for me in my career in IT, although it's all about technology and connecting the programs, it's really the people aspect of it. And I think specifically being a female and the way I was brought up, I think it's something that we have a good leverage, and we could help, connect the most advanced technology with human feelings and how people feel about it, and work with our customers and what is anticipated there. So I'm pretty excited where I am. I have an extraordinary team that works with me, and I think we have so much ahead of us, and it's just piling up. So
thank you for sharing. And our last extraordinary woman, Melissa, tell us about your journey.
So I've been in fashion, specifically in menswear, for a long time. I was more on the wholesale side, so definitely more of a brand builder, brand manager for different brands like Calvin Klein and Valentino, and always was selling the best retail stores across North America, and then just thought I could do something better and different than was out there. So, opened up my own business, but definitely, even though I'm not good in technology, I understand the importance of technology at the very start. And it was really about having that experience for the customer coming in, trying to have as much digital as possible. And then what I love about what I do is that every day is so different. And especially now with COVID happening, you really have to reinvent yourself, and you really have to pivot, and you can't complain. You just have to go out there and do things and make things happen. So it's a very interesting time.
Yes, very interesting time. And we're so glad all three of you ladies are here today. So I kind of want to kick it off with a warm-up question. Thanks for sharing about where you guys are today, but would love to hear a little bit more about what your dream job would be besides what you're doing today. Like, I want you guys to go big and let us know what that dream is. Maybe if it's something that when you were younger, would love to hear that. Nathalie, let's start with you.
Oh, sure. And, I think in my case, I am so fortunate that I was able to do what I always like to do from the very get-go. It was interesting for me. My career started just after 9/11, and having a career in IT back in that age was quite difficult. And but I was lucky enough to find a good job. I was a consultant back in the days with Intel, and this is something that opened up a lot of doors for me. And I look at what I do today, and I'm extremely proud and happy to see myself surrounded by extremely talented people that really make a change, and they transform the business and help digitize and simplify things for our customers, and create innovation and create excitement in everything that we do. And I'll be honest, I'm just looking to do more and more of it. And there is endless opportunity here to grow and really invent every day.
Well, I'm glad you're in your dream job. All of you are. All right, Melissa, what about you? Any dream job you would want to be doing besides what you do today?
Probably an international 5-star hotel reviewer.
Oh, nice.
Nice. I think we'll join you on that one. Why that?
I'm lucky with my job that I do get to travel around the world, and I just think once you start traveling, then you want to do more of it. Kind of starting off in hostels, and then you're working your way up to
the Ritz-Carlton.
Yeah, exactly.
I love it. No, I'm gonna join you on that. All right, Tara, what about you?
Well, I have such an incredible job, which gives me so much opportunity, but I also have a side gig, and it's been the job I've always wanted to do. And about 15 years ago, I became a certified dog trainer, and I train on the weekends, and I trained at night, and I always did it. When I think about what was able to get me through some of the stressful times in my career and in my life, the idea that I always had this to fall back on with engaging and training dogs. And I have 3 of my own. So when I say it's my side gig, it is my side gig. And that's what I do when I'm not working with my team. I am working with animals and training my dogs to try and make, deal with this whole new world of being home with them all day long.
Thank you for sharing. I think that leads us into a great question for you is about work-life balance. I think we all need some advice on that and a reminder of how to maintain it or gain a healthy work-life balance. So would love to hear a little bit more about how you learned throughout your career how to maintain that or gain it, and how does it also attribute to the strong team that you have to keep that balance? Love for you to share.
Yeah. And I have to say, through my career, I haven't always had a good work-life balance. When I was younger, coming into retail, coming into e-commerce, trying to prove myself, trying to get the promotions, trying to get more responsibility, you put a lot of hours and a lot of effort into it. And I realized at that time as well that it wasn't something that's sustainable. And I think one of the most important things that people have to do is define work-life balance for themselves. It is not just the 9 to 5, take the hour off, don't work weekends. I have a lot of different people on my team who, want to spend the morning with their kids. They want to spend lunch with their kids. And for them, that might mean working at night or on the weekends. So I think the best thing is for each individual to define what is work-life balance for them and what gives them balance. And for me, anyone who knows me, it is my dogs. And then on the flip side, and I think even this year is so important, having an incredible team around you. And I've had the amazing luxury of being able to handpick my entire leadership team. And they are people who, on paper, maybe didn't have the experience, but they are people who have the attitude, and they are people who I trust and I believe in. And they're people that, I didn't hire them planning for COVID, but they are the people that were adaptable, flexible, the ones that are willing to take risks. And it has been so important for me this year because I have 150% trust in them, that they're as committed to me and success. They're as willing as I am to try something and fail and then move on and try something new. And I think that's what anyone who's had success this year has, that mentality going into it. So for me, I can sleep at night because I know I probably have one of the strongest teams in retail.
Nice.
Guaranteed.
Nathalie or Melissa, do you guys want to chime in on work-life balance for you guys?
For sure, I could go first. So first of all, I would laugh that I'm still trying to figure it out, right? Being a mom for 3 and a wife, it's a challenge, and I'm still figuring it out. But I think what really works for me, and I would echo what Tara said, is really having the support. And support for me includes the team and the people that I work with. And I echo the whole trust component because it's important, and you cannot really work in your full capacity if you can't trust people around you. So it's absolutely important. And I would also add to it, for me, the way it works is an ability to ask for help, right? And it goes not only at work, at home as well, right? I have an extraordinary husband who is ready to step up when I need his help, right? And, and that's okay to say to the kids, guys, today is the day where we don't have a dinner. How about we'll figure something out and let's do something because mommy is busy, right? And you have fun with it. So it's really asking for help and seeking and reaching out.
What about you, Melissa?
I think sometimes as an entrepreneur, you don't really have, it's not that you don't have work-life balance, but you're always thinking about work. So, when I go home at the end of the day, I'm usually working on like another little side project that I don't have time to do during the day, but I enjoy doing it. So I'll spend the, hours to do, graphic design, work on marketing stuff. So but it doesn't really feel like work because it's a new, creative outlet that you're doing. So yeah, I probably have to work on it.
Thank you for all the advice. I think one of the big things is also asking for help. I don't think we all know how to do that.
No.
We want to do everything, right?
Yeah.
So it is easier, and having that strong team and the support to maintain a great work-life balance. But if you're enjoying your job, then you may not need it. So I think inspiration is also something that comes into each of our careers of where we are today. So I want to kind of touch upon inspiration for where you guys have been. Nathalie, I'm going to start with you. In the Women of Influence article, you mentioned your dad's advice, and which I love it. When you were young, your dad said, because you were a girl, you could do more than he could. You could do what boys could do and then some. He never let you settle. How have you used your dad's words to inspire you in your career as a woman in tech? But also, what advice are you giving women who are just starting off their careers in the tech industry?
And thank you for this question, because it really is something that drives me in my life. And I am lucky that I not only had the support from my father, but my husband was always, feeling the very same way. And he was extremely supportive. And I had people around me who were willing to help. And I think it all comes from the place of mutual respect, trust, and, it's okay to be vulnerable and come and say, you know what, I don't know, I'm scared. And then, sometimes you need someone to come and say, no, you can do it, try it. And, just being yourself, being honest, and connect to people around you. And there will always be someone who will give you a shoulder and who will back you up, right? So it's just being open about it. Don't try to deal with all of it yourself. And sometimes you need to be okay with not being perfect, always perfect as you want it to be. And I think this is what takes each one of us places. And one thing that I would probably say as a piece of advice, definitely to my daughter and, young female out there, is reach out, never hesitate. And, if you don't feel that you're 100% qualified, that's fine. Just try it out and be honest and say, you know what, I don't have 100% qualifications, but I'm willing to try, and I'm super excited, right? And you would see that at the end of the day, with the right support, you'll get even far beyond than anyone expected.
Thank you for sharing. I think your dad's an inspiration to all of us too. So thank him. Melissa, what about you? I mean, as an entrepreneur and starting off your own business, what inspired you to be where you are today?
I think it was the belief that I can do it better. It was sort of, when I started, menswear was, kind of low end or high end, and there wasn't really anything in the in-between, and there wasn't anything experiential when it came to retail. So I just kind of saw how things were changing and wanted to be the first one to do it. So we were the first ones to have like a barbershop in a retail store. We actually, when we first opened, we had a full spa for men. We had, a lounge, we had TV screens, we had a DJ booth. We really went all out. And it's just, I think when you have that retail mentality, it's all about creating that customer experience. And for me, it was more, I can do this and do it better.
So your advice is we can do it better.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. I love it. Kara, I feel like this has touched upon you. You've always raising your hand to always do more. What's inspired you to have that mentality of I need to do more and take on more responsibility?
Well, and Nathalie, I love your dad's story. I realized a few years ago, I always said, anytime anybody asked me to do something, I'm like, how hard can that be? And I realized over the years, and then I would hear it from my mom, and I'm like, oh, that's where I got it. I totally picked that up from you. How hard could it be? And I think that's always the mentality of which I go into everything that I do. I mean, truly, what is the worst that can happen? Well, you know, I've crashed the website a couple times. Let me tell you, I've done some things that I certainly won't repeat and have learned from. But I think for me, it is just every time I achieve something, I'm like, well, that wasn't that difficult. I'm going to try something else. And when we think about inspiration now, I remember, you know, I think I've worked so hard to get where I'm at. And I've had so many fantastic people in front of me that have opened up doors and given me opportunity. And over the last few years, my inspiration has actually changed. And it's no longer about what doors are opening for me. I now turn and I look at my team, and when I watch their success, I literally, I said to them last week, they were presenting and doing something. And I said, could you physically pass out from pride? Because I think I might right now. And I find that actually more inspiring than any success that I can have. It's watching these people around me that are just shining and doing fantastic things.
No, that's great. Thank you all. You guys are all inspiring to me. I feel like, well, we're all going to leave this and go do something better, right? Which goes into Melissa. Better, kind of your model is you could do it better. Working from home is the new norm for companies during COVID. And, you know, Got Style's motto, I think, is dress better, do better. Your customers and, you know, to everyone is, so not getting dressed to go into the office. You know, today I got dressed, not in my workout gear, not wearing black as Melissa had suggested. So how are you changing that for your customers who aren't wearing a suit to work every day, or maybe like doesn't feel inspired to get dressed for the job and having their Zoom camera off? And how also has your customer experience changed for you guys, those who aren't going into the office, going into your store, or going into the office?
Definitely. Thankfully, we started to pivot a little bit last season, going more into more comfort and style. So as a guy, you can wear a blazer, but it's not going to be in a stiff fabric. It's going to be in a jersey blazer that feels like a sweatshirt. So it's really about educating guys that you can be comfortable, but you can still look good. So that was sort of at the beginning of COVID, when guys would still, you know, at least wear a blazer and a knit polo. Then it went downhill even more. So now what we're trying to do is educate men and women, because we've added women to our mix, about still looking good on a Zoom call by wearing color. So don't wear a collared shirt. You don't want to iron. Nobody wants to iron anything, but at least wear a sweater that has color close to the face, and then you can still wear your joggers on the bottom. So it's just you know, educating about elevating your casual style, because I do think a lot of men and women have casual clothes, but they're you know, university sweatshirt that they've been wearing for 10, 15 years. So just upgrade your casual, cozy stuff. Try to have a little bit of color. And then of course the experience has to change because people aren't leaving their house. They're, you know, they don't want to go into a store. Women are definitely shopping online more. And we've seen obviously that big shift. A lot of online businesses are, you know, doubling and tripling. But we find for us, our guys, while they do shop online, they're only replacing. And if we want to sell outfits, we still need to give that high touch service. So we're really pushing more the virtual aspect, where you make an appointment, you've got a virtual stylist. So one of us that walks around the store with you and puts together clothes for you and then sends them to your house same day. You keep what you like, and then what you don't like, we pick up and bring back to the store. So try to make it as seamless as possible to break away those barriers when it comes to online shopping.
How has that experience worked out with your customers? Are they, you know, it's something new. I think new is something hard to always adapt. I'd love to hear a little bit more about them adapting to this new style of shopping.
Well, it's so funny because we actually tried to launch this 8 years ago. We called it Skype shopping. It did not work out because nobody was used to that. So with what happened with COVID, all of a sudden everyone's doing video calls. So they're more used now to having somebody, you know, in their home on their computer. So probably within the first month, we definitely noticed a changeover that people were comfortable with doing a video call with us because they were doing video calls with their team and in sales like 6 or 7 hours a day. So the comfort level adapted pretty quickly.
That's great. I feel like I'll be using your service. Amazing. So this is a group question. I would love to hear all of your feedback on this. With COVID-19, you guys have seen an impact on business. How have you guys been creative with motivating your team with the challenges you face due to the virus to continue to drive the success of your business? So Tara, why don't you touch upon this?
I think that for us, it has when COVID hit and we were closing our retail stores in Canada, I looked at the team and I said, well, we're about to do some Q4 numbers again. Hope you're ready. And it was great for the first, I would say 8 weeks, 12 weeks, but to try and maintain Q4 numbers in March and April and May without, seeing that this could end anytime soon. You could certainly start to see it wear on the team. And for us, it was more about keeping people connected. A lot of celebrations. They could be incredibly minor celebrations, but we celebrated a ton of thank yous. Within our teams, we have it's called the Omni Channel Awesomeness Award. And it's given by teammate to teammate to teammate, and there's no value in it. It's a very gaudy, ugly star, and we're trying to keep that alive virtually. A lot of video, a lot of that connection where you can see people, because you often lose so much in text and lose so much in email, but that connection is important for people, so you can pick up on some cues. And, the teams have done fantastic, and they've been covering for each other. I think to Nathalie's point, that vulnerability and allowing people to say, I need some help here is important. And building that environment where people can say that and not feel like they're disappointing anybody has been the key to our success. And the teams have done fantastic things where they're covering for each other. We can't be on 10 hours of video calls every day. We just cannot do it. And making sure that, if I'm not on a call, someone else is representing on behalf of the entire team. And again, it all goes back to the trust. But the teams, we're ready for Q4 now. We're in it. And yes, Melissa, that shift to online has been intense for us. And, giving teams the downtime, whether it's midday, just shut it down, turn off the phone, turn off the computer, walk away and take a breath. It's so important. But I think that our teams have figured out how to do it and how to cover for each other. We have 7 more weeks left. We'll get through it.
I like how you said that you guys celebrated just even the little things. And I think that helps you motivated, especially when we're not in the office together to see each other. What about you, Nathalie? What have you guys done, something new and creative during this time to help motivate your teams?
So for us, first of all, being in IT and specifically in digital transformation, COVID was probably the biggest accelerator of doing everything we planned to do for the long period of time. So there was no longer a question of why we need to do that. There was a question of how fast can we get it done, right? So, which obviously for us created a lot of excitement and success along the way, because we were able to move our company into really fully virtual execution mode within overnight, in effect. And it was very seamless because of the great work that the team did behind the scenes. And just to make sure, because the team is quite big and we all worked closely together and we were reliant on each other, and we loved to communicate. Often we would go lunches, we will have stand-up meetings in the morning. So with all of it becoming virtual, it was a little bit of an adjustment time. And then we came up with a number of really virtual rituals that we go as an example. We meet weekly and we just spend time talking about small things that are not job related, right? 2 minutes each. And it's important. And it's funny that we even feel now that we're 8 months, 9 months into it, we feel way more connected with each other. Now, suddenly, whether you like it or not, you get to know your kids because they suddenly walk into your camera when you talk, right? And it's fun. It creates, if you work it and you make it fun, and again, people trust each other because obviously trust is an important component here. It creates a lot of fun moments and fun memories that everyone shares. And I'll go back to what Tara said. We are probably communicating way more than we used to before, because even if you go with your video conferencing, you still don't have, and you don't see the full body language. It's still not the same, right? So you need to make sure that you get the feedback, people see what you're really trying to say. So we're communicating more often. And I would say it is one of the things that have changed for us. But other than that, we are in a perfect field and perfect industry to go through COVID because we are in the heart of digital transformation.
Thank you. No, communication is very big. We're communicating more. And we're also seeing everyone's background.
Exactly.
Good one, right? So Melissa, what about you? I mean, you've been, COVID's probably impacted you probably the most with closing down stores and stuff, but would love to hear a little bit more about how you got creative. I mean, the virtual shopping experience is amazing, but what else have you done?
Couple things. One of the things was really giving my team the power to, because we need to create as much content as possible. Like we definitely need on everything. We're redoing our website right now. And then the team is definitely coming up with great ideas for different content. So they're, doing the reels, doing the TikTok, but something that's specific to them, which is great. So they're feeling a little bit more empowered that we're trying to build their own brand individually, and that's something that we're adding onto the site, that we want to push them as being sort of the stylists and the stars of the store. And then another thing that we did is we've got a great space. We've got 7,000 square feet at our distillery store. So what else can we do with this space? So we launched. We had to put it on hold right now because we're back to stage 2 or 3. But we were doing private dining and shopping at the store. So for your bubble of 10, you come in, private dinner. We've got a chef that does a 4-course meal. It's just people that you've been socializing with, like your team or your family. And you get the store to yourself to eat, drink, and be merry.
That sounds like fun. I wish we could all go there right now.
I'm in.
So Melissa, I'm going to stick with you. I want to talk about some risks that you've taken through your career and starting your own business. What are some of the risks you've taken that have been positive, and those that you've, may have failed and that you've learned from? Would love to hear a little bit more about that.
I definitely think as women, sometimes, like we're saying, we don't ask for help. So when I, started out, probably should have had a lawyer look at my lease agreement, things like that. So I do think that as a female entrepreneur, I think you tend to self-isolate a little bit and not ask for help because you want to prove that you can do it all by yourself. So that's definitely one of the mistakes that I did, was not maybe having a network of people to bounce ideas off of. And then in terms of things that I have tried, I think it's always been more pushing the boundaries of what a retail store should be. And in terms of that experience level, we started doing, events and parties at our store, and we became, I think, a lot of our customers said our parties were legendary. So it just becoming more than just a store, but part of people's lives, because, they knew a party was coming up. They had to get dressed for it. They had to get invited. And the only way you got invited was depending on how much you shop. So there was that aspect. And then I think definitely earlier on, being digital as early as possible We had a community manager, you know, probably 10 years ago before anyone even knew what a community manager was. So trying to, even though I didn't really fully understand it, I knew it was going to be important. So we were lucky that we started doing YouTube videos, you know, 10 years ago as well.
You're ahead of the game, right?
Yep.
Let's continue talking about risks that we've taken in our careers and, you know, with your teams. Tara, I'd love to hear you touch upon this too, and, you know, your career journey, about the risks you've taken, and they've been positive, but maybe there's some that you failed. I feel like we always talk about the positives, but I think it's great to hear about the failures sometimes because we've learned from it. I think you touched upon that earlier in our conversation.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I think that I know it sounds awful. I mean, I've taken a lot of risk, and not everyone has worked out. And I think professionally, you know, sometimes you think the grass is greener on the other side, and you take some risks in jumping into roles and jumping into jobs. You know, not everyone has worked out, and I think assessing and knowing that quickly is smart. And for me now, I would say I'm much more in control. And if my grass isn't green, I'm going to find the water, and it's going to get greener. I don't need to jump here or jump there. I'm going to make it what I want it to be. And you know, professionally, like within my roles, I've certainly taken some risks. And I've been in an environment where it's been great because, you know, being at Toys R Us Canada, and you know, one of the first retailers in e-commerce, we tried everything, and no one felt that digital was going to, you know, really take away from the bricks and mortar stores. So we were able to test and partner and try, and we crashed the site so many times trying different things and bounced back up. And it truly, I think, made me more resilient to everything that's going on in the last few months. I say to my team, if you really want to know, just go and Google me, and you can hear what I've done, because it's all, and in Canada, we have a forum called Red Flag Deals, which is where people do a lot of conversation about retail. And, you know, you can find out all about the risks I've taken and where I've succeeded and where I have not succeeded very much. And it's all out there in the digital world. But I would encourage everyone to take the risk, and even if it's just a risk in your day, you know, there's people. I was saying I was going to do this call or this video, and it terrifies some people, the idea of going and opening up and talking to a group of strangers that you can't truly see. And I encourage everyone to try it. I mean, this is the community. This is our new world where, you know, we can go out there and inspire others just with an hour of our lives and connecting. Like, I'm already, oh, Melissa, I totally want to come and have dinner there. And you get, and opening yourself up to have these conversations, like, it's a risk in itself. And finding the right environment of people who you can open up with is so important.
No,
I took a risk earlier by joining.
You did. We all did, right? It's very humbling too, you know, some of those failures that we go through, and you just learn from and you pick yourself up and keep going. Nathalie, let's hear a little bit from you too on your risks in your life.
Oh, for sure. Thank you. And, you know, for me, obviously being in technology world, you have to deal with risk on a daily basis, right? There are things that you would try, and some will work and some won't. And when I look at the way of, you know, dealing with risk, is I always go for, you know, and I do have a couple of people that create good examples for me. Someone like Steve Jobs or Jeff Bezos, who would say that, you know, majority of our decisions are reversible. We just need to be agile, and we need to be able to pivot when, you know, the result is not coming up exactly the way we need to. It's just, you know, be in the environment, make sure that you are at the place where you could take the risk and you could fail. And the bigger thing is what you do with this failure. And if it's something that you learn from, you would go and you would do the very similar thing the next day. And this is more importantly for me now, is to make sure that my team feels comfortable taking a risk every day, right? And they know that they have my back and they have their team members back on, doing things and failing, because we will all be failing certain things, right? And we need to be comfortable with that.
No, thank you. I want to talk about a risk maybe that you've taken, Nathalie. This is what we've talked about in our pre-call, is your titles are something that you design. So let's talk about that. I mean, I know titles are big for a lot of people. They may not mean a lot to some, but would love to hear about the risk you took creating your own titles and how that was receptive to your manager or, your boss. Would love to hear more about that.
Oh, for sure. Thank you. And that's, as I said, I am extremely lucky to be surrounded by people that are very supportive and open for new ideas. And it happened in my career that I would always design my sort of next title and it comes afterwards. As an example, my current title was something that we pretty much designed, and even the ones before, by me taking an initiative and trying something else, something that I've never done before, and having an opportunity to do and try, and and even if there were things that did not work exactly the way they should be, it opened up doors for me. And I am again at the place where in our company at Rico Canada, risk and ability to position yourself as open for the next thing is something that is supported, and it's something that is taking you to your next job and next step. And it was very interesting because one of my very successful team members, and she's really a rising star, she joined the company young, and one of her questions when we started career planning was, well, I see that I could go here or there, and I don't really like either way. And I said, why don't you figure out what it is that you like, and we'll design it for you. And again, I gave her my story, and that would be a piece of advice that I would give to anyone. Take a risk, pick up whatever you want to do next, and you will be surprised how many doors will open by themselves if you only had a chance to put your dream out there and again risk it and discuss with your boss or your boss's boss.
No, great creativity. What about Tara? If a team member came to you with this kind of philosophy of change, like creating their own title, what would you say to them? Would love to hear feedback on this.
I encourage it all the time. I look at my team right now. I'm responsible for Omni channel, which could be so many things. But we've created new jobs within our org, and I say that to a lot of my leaders. What do you want to be? Like, you need to start defining it. You need to start owning it. You need to start being it. Nobody's going to come and knock on your door and say, I think you should. No. And anybody who has spent some time with me would know, I will make up a new job, because we're in such a time where everything is changing. Very few of us will get this opportunity again to be able to rebuild, redefine, and look at that future for the next 3 years and say, I'm going to build towards that. I would encourage it from anyone. Make it up, find a new title. I would encourage it.
We'll do that. What about Melissa? Any thoughts from you?
No, I totally agree. I think there's so many standardized levels in retail, but it's more interesting if you want to be the customer service manager as opposed to the store manager. If you want to be in charge of, digital experiences, we definitely encourage those little niches within the store.
No, thank you. All right, ladies, we're into our Q&A from the audience. So you guys ready for your first question? Manuela, with all the unprecedented challenges we had in 2020, are you changing the way your team plans for 2021? So let's go with Tara. You want me to repeat that?
No, we are absolutely changing. Through June, July, and August, we were doing Future Fridays. And it was truly just that. We were looking at, we've been through a few months. We know that, the digital world is going to evolve even faster. The people that weren't truly into online shopping have been forced into it, and we have an entirely new opportunity. And when we look at digital retail, my thought, and I think, Melissa, you were defining it fantastically, bringing digital and bringing technology into our physical stores is going to be key to retail. And we are absolutely changing how we're building the business, what we're investing in, and, changing and shifting our strategies to get into, it is not just about online and store. It truly is about that back and forth, and how do we leverage the amazing digital experience, and how do we bring that to life in the store if we can't be touching and browsing and interacting?
No, let's segue over to Melissa. What about your changing of your planning for 2021? I know you've been impacted, especially this week, I'm sure.
Yep. One of the changes that's happening, interesting, as we're talking about women of influence, is women are becoming the new men when it comes to shopping. In terms of men are getting super casual in how they're dressing. They're, doing the t-shirt and the joggers. We're seeing a shift in women wanting to become more the power person at work. So we're actually putting more of an emphasis on our custom women's program, bringing in more suits, more blazers for women. Because I do think after 2020, they've been wearing, track pants every single day for 8 months. When they do go back to work, they want to make more of a statement. So pushing that, and then definitely doing a lot more, trying to bring the shopping experience to the customers. So we're sort of, once we can go visit the customer, of course, but doing more in-office seminars. One of the things we're even talking about is, getting a truck that we're going to be, parked in the downtown core, that people can come visit us if they can't make it to the store. So just trying to bring that ultimate convenience to the shopper. Since they're used to online shopping, how can we bring more of a physical space to them that's going to be as convenient?
Yeah, and efficient too.
Yep.
They don't have much time. All right, Nathalie, let's go to you about planning for 2021. How has 2020 helped, change your thoughts and the way you guys are road mapping for 2021 right now? That's in a month and a half away.
I know.
Exactly. Well, so for us, it all comes to really raising the importance of digital transformation and really transforming the business through the digital. And it's really putting a lot of emphasis on what we do and innovation that comes from the team, as well as our ability to be quite nimble, and it comes with a pace. We have to be way more fast-paced than we were ever before, and be able to be as agile as possible to adjust to changing business conditions internally and externally. And obviously, customer experience nowadays is more important than ever. It's starting from your customers and working backwards.
Yeah, go back to the innovation part too, is how has creativity really impacted that? We have questions here. It's all about creativity is the buzzword question. So let's elaborate a little bit more on the creativity you guys have learned from the pandemic, but also what you guys are taking to, help make your business successful. Nathalie,
Yeah, well, I think when it comes to what we do specifically with my team, so I think a lot of creativity starts from a very good diverse team, and it's really bringing diversity and importance of diversity, and I think it's showcased this year more than ever, and making sure we have a good debate, because when you have difference of opinions and you have open discussions, this is where you see the ideas that really blossom and they become something that is very interesting and very relevant. And that's one thing. Another thing is being able to look at things from a very different perspective. We all live the reality that no one really imagined a few months back, right? And us being able quickly to work through it and try to experiment and do things in a more fast and nimble way. So for us, it's more experimentation, more diversity, and more openness for new ideas and trying out those new ideas as they come.
Tara, what are your thoughts on this?
I think that we've all been forced into creativity, and one of the elements for us was taking our call center team and putting them in a work from home environment. But what we also faced is, as retail stores closed, is these amazing store associates across Canada who have abilities to interact with customers, to sell to customers. We had to be creative in what we were going to do with them so that we could continue to employ them. And we actually cross-trained them and brought them into our call centers so that they could engage with customers. We had that talent, and rather than furlough them or and wait to see what is going to go on in retail, we took that talent and we just pivoted and shifted it into a way that we could support our customers. And I think that creativity is about it truly is about forgetting what it was. We took live chat and we brought it to our HR team, and that's how they're doing live chat, they're doing video chat for interviews and hiring employees now, which is something that we typically wouldn't have done. We were always a face-to-face kind of company. And I think for us, it's just been saying, it may have been that way last year. It's not that way this year. And how do we take that technology and bend it to satisfy our new norms?
Oh, thank you. Melissa, I mean, you're a creative person. You've been doing this since your first store on King Street. Like you have this cool DJs and spots. I feel that 2020 has really had to, like, your creative juices had to keep flowing because you were really impacted. So tell us a little bit more. I mean, we've heard about your creativity of what you're doing, but touch upon, like, how did this all happen and how did you encourage yourself to be creative?
I think it's more just trying to view it from the customer's mindset. If you're working from home, you don't really have to shop. So what else can you do as a retail store to get people excited to come into your space? And that's why we came up with the idea of, doing these dinner series. And then we're also going to be, working with different chefs, different bartenders to have them come in. But I do think it's, it wasn't easy. You definitely fall into a funk of, self-pity of like, well, but then you got to realize that everyone's going through this, but it's, you do have to slap yourself a little bit to be like, okay, we got to figure this out, as opposed to falling into a why me situation. And I think it's right now just throwing anything against a wall and trying everything and see what works, and not being afraid to fail, and get the team on board to be like, let's come up with some interesting things to do.
It's all about creativity and thinking fast on your feet this year, right? We've experienced so much change and just adapting quickly. You have to be adaptive, right? Some people don't like change, and we've definitely done that. I think I want to go around. This is our last question for the Q&A. We have 5 more minutes. So I just want to go around the circle of just talk about like one piece of, like, I guess, technology that has made you guys been more innovative and supportive of the creativity of being successful in your business. Like anything that you guys can think of. Tara.
I think for me being, sorry, jumped in.
I like it.
Go ahead.
Is, obviously with social media, that was definitely, I'm personally not on it a lot, but, we've given our team the power to create and have as much fun with it as possible. And they're really, for them, they're enjoying that process. So they're not just in the store waiting for customers to come in. They're constantly doing stuff. They're doing videos, they're doing dance, they're doing like mini fashion shows, they're doing everything too. And I think that keeps them invigorated with the process of, selling clothing. So and just trying to stay on top of all the new changes that are happening with every single social media thing that comes out is crazy.
I think a lot of us have been shopping a lot on social media during the pandemic more than we ever have. All right, I'll hop over to you, Tara. What about you? What are your thoughts?
I would say for us, as everybody has shifted to digital, the social listening tools that we have now have become key to how we are shifting within the website, within our stores, within our policies. The people can talk about you everywhere. And in social platforms, in forums, we focus every morning, our entire executive team, well, some of them stay up late at night and they read it at night. Every morning for me, we read all of our customer reviews. And we go through, is this policy, is this process? And, my customer experience team will reach out to every single customer, either thank them for their review or, privately reach out to try and resolve any issues. But there's an openness in listening to our customers now because we didn't have that face-to-face for so many months. And just how do we react and change? What is going on out there that we can take to our teams in the stores, take to our teams in marketing and react and respond? That has been key for us.
Yeah, we have to react quickly, within a short amount of time. That we've been doing that here at Avenue Code as well. Nathalie, what are your last thoughts on this?
So for me, we live and breathe technology every day, and maybe most recently, what really is standing out is the whole area of artificial intelligence, AI, and specifically machine learning, and getting customer experience and everything we do to the point where we could be more predictive and prescriptive in the way we do, and taking it to the whole new level of from a very ordinary experience to something that could be way more exciting and cooler. This is what stands out the most. Thank you.
Ladies, thank you so much for sharing. I've had the most amazing hour of my day today.
Thank you.
So on behalf of Avenue Code, Tara, Nathalie, Melissa, thank you for joining today. And thanks our audience for participation and being here. Really love meeting all three of you ladies. You guys are all extraordinary, and I hope you guys go off today and have a great rest of your evening. But thank you for connecting, and we hope to see everyone on our next episode of Extraordinary Women in Tech. So thanks, everyone. Have a great rest of the day. And
thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks.
Bye, ladies.